What were your monthly numbers before signing up with AR?
Before signing up, I was doing between 12 and 15K a month. My best month ever was 18. And then the first month with you guys, I hit 21.2, which was like a record for me. And then last month I hit 20. My goal was always consistently 25. I'd never touched 20.
Welcome back to AR Podcast. My name is Mike Crowson, the CEO and co-founder of AR Funnel. And today we have Toufic with us. Man, I'm excited to dive in because his journey has been unreal. And I had to preface it starting with what he's done is not something that we guarantee, or is it something that we can state anybody's going to do? So results are not typical here, but it is awesome to see. And I'm excited to dive in, man. So first things first, before we get into the goods of all that, first tell me, man, like what got you into fitness in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So in high school, I was always into sports, big football player, team captain, and all that. And then once school ended, wasn't playing anymore, fell off hard with fitness, got out of shape really bad because I didn't have a reason to train anymore. I had been lifting since I was 13. And then somebody talked me into kind of getting into powerlifting. And then a guy at the gym was like, why don't you try bodybuilding? And I did my first show at 19 and fell in love with it and competed from 19 to 30 and loved it,
Wow.
loved it. And that translated over to me coaching and been doing it ever since.
Right on. So how long have you been coaching now?
It's been about 8 years. I'd say the last 3 years when I took it really serious as a business though. Yeah.
Awesome.
So the
And
last
so,
3 years is when I decided to kind of go all in on the coaching side and not just have it as a side thing anymore.
yeah. Yeah. Who's your ideal client? Like who's somebody that you love to work with?
Honestly, I coach so many different people. Like with my medical background, I have like functional clients, lifestyle clients. I just love bodybuilding prep coaching though. So that's like where my heart is, but I do it all.
When it comes to the actual competitors that you work with, who's your favorite type of competitor? Is there a category or a gender or like what's your favorite?
Yeah, I think bodybuilding is my favorite for sure. I feel like a lot of people fall in love with classic and men's physique, but something about bodybuilding, just the big dudes, are like how far you can take it, it excites me. So I would say that's my favorite.
And so walk me through how do we go from pharmacist to coach?
Right. Okay.
Like how does
So
that journey happen going from like super educated and then, highest level inside that medical world there and then
mhm.
also falling in love with coaching and where does that middle ground meet and how do they benefit?
I see. Okay. So when I was in pharmacy school is when I was competing the most. I just love the discipline of doing something, having a show in mind. So when I was competing, everyone was asking me to like help them out. So coaching started with like
Mhm.
coaching friends for free
Yeah.
and all that. And then I was like, hey, maybe I'm really good at this. And I loved like being competitive, the
Sure.
competitive side of it, winning things, chasing, you know, trophies and one year after the next getting better and better. So I was doing that throughout pharmacy school and I just saw a lot of coaching that like didn't match with like the science. So I did take like a more scientific approach to the things that I learned in school. Obviously hired a lot of mentors, worked with a lot of people and understanding like what's going on with the body behind the scenes helped me become a better coach in the fitness world. I would say is kind of how they kind of intertwined. And then on the medical side, like being in a retail pharmacy and seeing how modern medicine is versus like how it should actually be applied as a tool alongside lifestyle has helped me kind of pair the two in helping people.
You think it's helped you understand problems more when you understand what a drug does? So it's on the internal side, it's like the problem is this versus just everybody knows that the product is the Band-Aid.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. So I've been able to like to kind of dive into like the root cause instead of exactly what you said, throwing band-aids on things.
What's your thoughts on the medical industry as a whole?
Um, I think you're seeing more people take their health into their own hands,
Mhm.
which is good and bad. But I'd say, like, unfortunately, that's where a lot of people are heading because of the way that the system is set up. And eventually that system is going to break where people like us that are health coaches can help just because if you look at a typical doctor's day, they're spending, 8 hours seeing 70, 80 people. There's no way that they can listen to you and hear and go through the blood work and look at the last 6 years of your life to figure out what was going on. So I think eventually the system is going to crack, and I'm not on board with kind of like the reactive approach to like, okay, you're sick, here's medication, and send you out the door. Of trying to be more preventative and figuring out what's actually going on to prevent
Right.
these things and live a longer, healthier life.
No, that all makes sense.
Yeah,
And so what's I always like to ask this question because I think it's interesting. Everybody's answer is
sure.
completely different. But what is one thing that a client has taught you?
Ah, man, that's a good question. I'd say maybe on the lifestyle side of coaching, that not
Mhm.
everyone is wired, to like they're trying to do like the Olympia, right? So I always tell people like I coach somebody who's just trying to lose 15 pounds for a wedding the same way I coach somebody who, is trying to turn pro. Well, eventually I had to learn that that's not that's not really the case. And a lot of people are looking for more of that balanced approach and making it fit into their life. So that is something I did have to learn is you can't push everybody the same way. Not sure if that answers the question, but
Yeah. No,
that's a tough
it
one.
does because communication is, I think, key into coaching. I
Mhm.
make a statement a lot, and I think that professors can't teach kindergarten, and it's because the
Right. Yeah.
communication is not there, not the information. But we have to get people to adhere to it. And so, if somebody is teaching you or has taught you rather different communication styles, then that's just making you a better coach. I
Yeah.
think
100%.
the worst coach is the one that basically says that the client sucks because they won't do the thing, and you keep repeating it yourself over and over and over. When your job is actually to figure out how you're supposed to get them to adhere. Yes, obviously, that requires some self discipline and whatnot, but at the same time, like I think a coaching perspective is not the same as here's the meal plan, here's the workout, because that's something that they can just chat GPT and it'll
Right.
be 90% of good enough to see the results in which they're looking to get for 99% of people. It's the coaching them on how do we get the drive from them? How do we get the motivation? How do we get the resilience? How do we get the determination, the discipline? How do we pull those things out of people so that their best self and don't fall back to their default, which is their non best self? I think that's really important, all stemming from communication. Communication is not just talking, but also listening. And so if you can listen, then you know what to say in return well. But if it's just like my way or the highway, do what I say, and you don't listen, you're going to have very poor results because only 1% of people can take that approach and actually nail it. I'm going to fall into that category because it's very black or white. Like I don't eat with anything
Mhm.
emotion. It's like my food can be cold or hot. I could really care less the difference. That's not most people, right? And
Right.
so it's like we
Yeah.
have to fit
100%.
the mold of most people. And so that it becomes with communication. So I think that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. That's something I picked up big from my mentors. Like looking deeper into the problem instead of like looking at a check in and being like, all right, this client sucks. Like they're not doing what I'm supposed to do, is figuring out why, like what's wrong and how can I make the tweaks to get them where they want to go. And I always tell people when they sign up with me is like, the first two check-ins, like there might not be much changes. It's really me trying to figure out what you're responding to. And the real work comes from the adjustments of keeping you on that pace. It's not enough for me to just write that one-time plan and send you out the door. So I
Right.
totally agree with that.
So you've invested a lot into mentorships, continued education, and whatnot. How important is it for somebody to invest into themselves?
It's so important. Honestly, like I said in the beginning of this, I didn't really start taking coaching seriously until 2023 because my coach, Dom Kuza, at the time, it was big in the mentor space. And I was just watching the things that he was doing, and I was like, I'm I guess I'm doing myself a disservice if I'm not pouring into it, right? So I signed up with like before he had the blueprint and the online courses, he just did like individual like one-on-ones, and I just started soaking things up. And I could easily sit back and say, hey, I have a doctorate degree, like I don't need to listen to anybody, but that's not the case. And like there's always more to learn. So it is so important to just keep evolving. Even still now, I'm in 3 different mentorship groups trying to continue to evolve my processes and my habits. And every time I've invested, the money's come back to me
Sure, of
and
course.
more.
I have never invested in something. I haven't got something out of it to equal the value of what I expected to get from it. I do think, and when you're investing in yourself, it sounds too good to be true. Then you're
Hmm.
not ready to make that risk, because nothing that is cheap sounds good to be true. It's the really expensive thing that sounds too good to be true. And if it is that expensive and it looks like it's too good to be true, it probably is. And I don't
Hmm.
think you're at the level to where you can make that decision, because I think investments are made with the idea of, if worst case nothing happened, would I be okay? If that's the answer, then it's like I'm okay with that investment. If I'm putting the house on it, I
No,
only put the
right.
house. I'm only gonna put the house on me. I'm never gonna bet the house on somebody else's knowledge. And so
Fair.
I think that's it. But at the same time, like, I think it's very important, very, very, very important to invest in ourselves.
100%.
Why I say that, but a fun fact for you, some of the stuff you might not know. So it took me 10 years to make six figures in a business. I worked for myself for 10 years before I made six figures. Now that's like, if it takes you 10 years to make six figures, then it's like, are you even trying?
Right. Yeah.
But I also didn't invest into somebody until I had already been in business for over 10 years before I bought my first mentorship group. And then the other one was, I didn't read a self-development book until I was 31, which to me is like also crazy. It's like, I didn't
Yeah.
watch YouTube videos. I just like learned the hard way, right? It's like, man, if I just read or watched YouTube or got mentorship for a few $100, or like if I just did something, how much more time or money would it save me? Did I learn a lot and get a lot of good skill acquisition from the hard way? For sure. For sure. But man, how much faster could I have sped things up if
Yep.
I just was able to pay for somebody that already did it, right? That could point me in the right direction. So, yeah, very interesting take. I think a lot of people these days are willing to invest in themselves. I think the old school mentality of your guys that are like 40 plus, they're the ones that are like, nah.
Yeah.
I think there's, because I mean, I would say like my friends, or maybe like people a little bit older than me, that's the hard knock era, where
Yeah.
it's like we just had to grind it out. I'm from the school of hard knocks, because we didn't have the access to social the way we do now, to where it's so readily available to get information. So it's interesting.
Hmm.
And so now you've been coaching for quite some time now, come out of the pharmacy school, right? Been doing that for a minute as well. What is your prediction for yourself, or what is the goal to, it's like, hey, in 2027, this is what I see myself?
In 2027, I'm hoping to be coaching full time. Believe it or not, I still do both.
Yeah.
So I still work at the pharmacy, 40 hours a week, and I felt like for a while that was kind of hold me back, but I have a position now where I can kind of juggle both. But hopefully at this pace, since signing up with they are like maybe 2 months ago, a year from now, sky's the limit, and hopefully can be doing this full time because just my passion is here, honestly. So that's the long term goal for me.
Right on. And so when it comes to people that you work with, you see yourself wanting to work with more athletes or more functional health or general lifestyle? Like, what's your passion leaning towards?
I'd say more athletes and functional health. Lifestyle is still fun for me. I still enjoy it. I just don't get as excited. But like when you have somebody who comes to you and they're like, we've been trying to have a kid for a year and nothing's happening. Those cases, like the way that it makes me feel is just, it makes it all worth it. Like all the hard hours, all the time and money invested in all of that. Those are the cases that make me so excited. And then on the prep side, it's like somebody who's been trying to do their first show and they're trusting you with that dream, that goal. It makes me so fulfilled. So that's where my heart is.
Well, I got a question for you based on that first answer you gave. To the couple that's been struggling to have a kid for the last year and a half, 2 years, what would be two things that you would advise them to do immediately so that they can get on track of actually trying to conceive?
Number one is they have to have a healthy lifestyle. Like that's number one, like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I know that's like really broad, but that's where it has to start. So it's not just like take this fertility drug and send you out the door. It's completely changing their lifestyle. And then two, I would say, um, man, what would be the second most important thing? Probably like looking like a lot of times the partners kind of point the finger at each other, right? Like it's his fault, it's her fault, whatever it may be. And I would say that they need to come together and buy in that it might be a long term thing, but at the end of the day, it's going to take both of them working together to make it happen. So that's what I would say. Probably the biggest two: change the lifestyle immediately, buy in together that this is going to be a long term thing, and hopefully have a baby one day.
What would be three lifestyle changes that somebody would need to do if they're looking to concede?
Okay, number one, body fat percentage, right? Like getting in shape, losing
Mhm.
weight. That's very important. Number two, sleep, right? So like the way that we are set up and wired with the phones and the constant stimulation and stress, like turning off, finding time to turn off, get your body into that relaxed mode and get your sleep patterns down. And then number three would probably be they kind of all tie together in the lifestyle.
Mhm.
I honestly I'm not sure what the third one would be, but those are the biggest two. Is like what I see the biggest movers is like being healthy and losing weight and getting your body in a position where like it's prioritizing fertility, and then the constant stimulation of the life that we live, kind of turning your brain off. I would say the biggest two.
Why does body fat percentage matter when it comes to getting pregnant?
Especially on the female side, like being able to be fertile does have it has a lot to do with body fat. Like if the body is not healthy, and we can have things like insulin resistance, PCOS. You're the if you think about it, it's the most simple terms of like a healthy body is not going to want to an unhealthy body is not going to want to push out another human being, right? Doesn't
Mhm.
feel safe. So that's the way that I always look at it and try to tell clients.
Got it. So basically, we're trying to decrease between sleep and body fat the internal stress load that the body essentially is carrying and decrease
100%.
that fatigue so the body can then relax. And when it's relaxed, it can essentially grow. I kind of view it as like one of those, if I had to make this reference, it's like if we plant a seed and all it just rains all the time and it's just constant stress, it's like it's gonna be really hard for that thing to grow. Typically it grows after the rain comes. The
Right.
storm is the stress, and the storm has to leave and sun has to show up if we want it to grow. So we basically got to remove the storm so that that seed can then get some sunlight. No
100%.
pun
Yep.
intended on the seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool, man. How many competitors
Yeah.
have you essentially helped throughout your career of coaching?
Man, like so this is one thing like with like I never did before ARs track anything. Like how
Yeah.
many you asked me when on our first call how many clients do you have, and I was like around 60. Like I don't keep like a running list or anything. Like this is again the reason why I switched over, just get more systems down. But
Right.
I'd say I probably helped over 50 people get on the stage now. A lot of those 50 have competed multiple years, so they've been with me for a while. So I'd say around 50 at least.
You got any bodybuilding shows you're going to this year?
I go to a lot of the local ones here in Michigan.
Hmm.
I have an IFBB Pro competing in Houston in August, so I will be at that one for sure.
Okay.
But other than that, I do most of the coaching remote.
Which are we've got a few more booths. I'm going to be Chicago next weekend, so I don't know if he's going to be there because I know you're up north.
Yeah,
And then you've been on the platform for how long now?
I think since the beginning of May.
Okay, so give
Like
or take
so.
3 months, 90 days.
Mhm.
Few unorthodox questions here that I'll walk through. So, what was your biggest hesitation before signing up with AR?
I think I was just more confused of like what exactly it was, right? So like I think when I first got on a call with Dan, I was like, "You guys gonna help me make content?" And he was like, "I mean, not really, no." So like I think I was just more so confused of like
Yeah.
what exactly it was. But then once I understood like kind of how it worked and the systems, it was kind of a no brainer for me. But that's what it was in the beginning. Was like, how is this exactly going to fit into the way that I coach?
And how were you introduced into us, AR?
So in Dom's blueprint, he had a tab on there with you guys, and I had seen you all over Instagram, and then I started to see like Paul Romzek, Taylor Moore, Mike Nassif, all the guys that I'm familiar with using you, and I was like, I got to figure out what this is because if these guys are using it, there's got to be something to it. So
Yeah. And you decided to go with coming to a workshop as well. And then we've had
mhm.
two one-on-one calls. But before we get into that, what were your monthly numbers before signing up with AR?
Sure. So before signing up, I was doing between 12 and 15K a month. My best month ever was 18. And then the first month with you guys, I hit 21.2, which was like a record for me. And then last month I hit 20. And then this month on pace for 20 again. So my goal was always consistently 25. I'd never touched 20. And
Mhm.
now I'm looking at hitting 23 times in a row, which is huge for me.
Pretty awesome. I'd say after 90
Yeah.
days, that's really cool. I
Yeah.
can't state that again, like results are guaranteed or that they're common, but we went over a lot of stuff when we did two one-on-one calls whenever you signed up with us. What were the
Yeah.
biggest takeaways that you got from those two calls with me?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it was like getting some like things that I've told myself you need to do this, but someone to just kick me into doing it. So I'm talking with you and you're like, nobody's gonna buy from you if they don't know who you are. So like I'm looking at my Instagram and I'm like, carousel sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but never my actual voice.
Mhm.
And then as soon as you told me, dude, start making videos, people just started interacting with me and then they started to hear me and I actually sounded like I knew what I was talking about. And then everyone just started signing up and booking calls and it just flowed from there. So I think that was the biggest one was just like the quote that you told me was nobody's going to buy from you unless they know who you are. It really triggered something in me to like start using my voice, like making videos, posting stories, just being more consistent with the content. Um, and then I think maybe the not the layout, but kind of the direction of where I wanted to take my page and leaning into who I actually am. Like it said on there pharmacist, but it wasn't really clear what direction I was taking. So just making my Instagram more in sync with
Yeah.
with who I am is the best way for me
Yeah.
to say it.
It I think we covered a lot of what is our ICA, how are we talking to them, what
Yeah.
content to create to speak to them directly. Lead magnet perspective, like really get
Yeah.
the man, this is the trifecta of what we do, right? And also to understanding why talking head videos are so important, how you can actually speak to them in a certain way, setting up professionalism and delivering a product that matches your intelligence. And then
Hmm.
also too, we dove into a little bit of the offer as well, right? Like making your offer as
Right.
crisp and clean and worth it. Too many people are just not charging their worth for the services that
100%.
they're providing. I mean, you have a doctorate for goodness sake, so it's like, right? We shouldn't be charging bottom of the barrel
Right.
pricing. So all of those things essentially lining up, giving you the confidence to show up in the way you want to. Also, clear direction helps people so much. And now I'm excited for you to come into this workshop, take everything we
Yeah.
have because we fix some problems, now bring new problems to the workshop, and we can see about just scaling to the next level. So I'm excited there. So for the coach
Sweet.
that's doing $15,000 a month, where you'd started, whenever you sign up with AR, what would you tell them?
Um, what would I tell them? Excuse me. That's when you have this like goal in your head that seems it's impossible. If you go all in, you'll probably hit it faster than you think. And I think that's what was holding me back was just like I know I need to do these things, but like it's like I just don't know how to get there. Hiring somebody who's done it, like you said in the beginning of this, and seeing it reproduced with all of my coaching friends, I just like I said, I just needed to dive in, and then boom, I was there. Like, and I know you said like it might not happen that fast for everybody,
Mhm.
but I don't doubt that if you take the things that you're telling me to do, that it's not going to work. Like it has to work, right? So like the first time I told someone the new price, I'm sitting there and they're like, "Oh, cool, you take credit card?" Didn't even think about it, just signed up, and that just gave me the confidence and kind of lit the fire under me that it is possible and people will pay what you're worth.
I love it. I love that so much
Yeah.
because it's so true. Um, no one's going to buy from you until they buy into you, but
Yeah.
no one's going to buy into you until you can buy into yourself first. So believing
Yeah.
there because your product is good, you're worthy, you're confident, it makes such a difference. And that's why I like to do the two calls with coaches that do sign up with us immediately because I want to set the foundation of who am I talking to and what the hell am I selling and am I charging my worth? Establish that. Good coaches then make money. And then we dive into getting into some real marketing after that, using the software to our
Right.
advantage, and then coming in for a workshop. So I'm excited to have you in, man. I think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of bodybuilding coaches coming in September, the week of the Olympia. So that's also good. We made sure to get
That's
all
cool.
those guys together, girls together that are kind of like in the same sphere. So it's going to be good. And we're also sold out all the way until October now.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So
I'm glad I booked
it's gonna be
mine.
rad. I'm glad you got in what you
Yeah.
did. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what would be something that you would want to leave, like a message to, let's say, the team or your account manager that I can pass along to them?
Oh man, just thank you guys so much for everything. Like it's literally been like a night and day difference for me. Like prior to signing up, I like just bought a new house, just got engaged and was like feeling all of this like financial pressure with like and then I was like, should I sign up? Should I not? And as soon as I paid that, I was like, this has got to work. And every single step along the way has been perfect. If I have a question, I just send a text, someone gets right back to me. And just honestly, just thank you. And I know it's like the beginning. I'm excited to see how far it can go with all of you guys. And I just feel confident with having you all behind me. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to the future.
Right on, man. Well, dude, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for coming on and sharing your time with us
Yeah, of
today,
course.
sharing your story. And I'm excited to see where you go as well. I know how good of a coach you are. So I'm super excited to see. I've seen the results, I've seen the clients, I've got to understand their stories and yours. And so it's always fun to build somebody's business around somebody that's worthy of building a business around, dude. So look forward to seeing you in
I
September,
appreciate it.
man. And then until then, if you need us, you know where to find us.
Always. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, bye bye.